Okay, so my name is Kitty Delabesh, and I am Charlie Tebbetts' oldest sister, and I'm answering the questions that he has sent me in an email. So, the freelance questions. What is your job description? Um, what is my job description? I don't quite know what my job description is. I am a writer, I'm a film producer, I also work as an actress, a creative director, something that I call Spider Days, which is building people's brand identity and websites, Squarespaces. I also look at marketing and online passive income, and I've also been known as a human investigator. So lots of different things. Was it a conscious choice to become freelance, and how long have you been one? So in 2012, I was working for I guess they were a production company and also an agency called the Creative Partnership in Soho, London, and I was a production manager, and I was making trailers for distribution houses such as Warner, Universal. I was working with Love Film, which is now Amazon Prime, as my client, and also Lionsgate. So whenever a feature film or a TV series was coming out or going on a DVD release, then I would manage the adverts for that or book the voiceover people. And I was doing that for a while, and I basically wrote my letter of resignation and had it in my desk drawer for about 6 months because I knew that working in an office just wasn't for me and that I could probably do better on my own looking for work. And within 2 weeks of quitting my job, I was pitching for a music video to produce it on my own for a band called the Noisettes. And within a month, I'd shot it and delivered it. And I'd had my first freelance job. Question 2, working freelance, is it hard to get a steady workflow? If not, does it cause a problem? So working as a freelancer is not easy. It also takes a lot of courage and integrity and authenticity on your part. You really need to be sure about what you want to be doing, in the sense that you really love what you're doing, because it doesn't come easily, especially at first. And it's all about your network and your connections that you are able to make, and the impression you give when you work with people, because you're really only as good as your last job. So there can be a steady workflow. I normally keep my fingers in many pies so that I'm always sort of spinning different plates here and there, hoping that one will drop, and they often do. But there have been moments, and there are moments that Charlie will tell you when there are big gaps where you start to panic a bit. So it's always good, especially when you're moving into freelance, to have some kind of transition work that you do that is steady and that keeps you being able to pay your rent. Can finding a new job be difficult? Yes and no. So it depends really what you're doing as a freelancer and what your connections are, and how good you are at it, really. Like, are you really good at this job, and is it what you wake up in the morning thinking about? And I think if it's all you do and all you talk about, then every interaction you have with someone will be about what you love doing. And so they'll remember that. And then if they need someone like you, they're more likely to call you. How do you deal with being paid, I guess, and working out taxes? So I have an accountant. I have my own company that I've registered as a production company that all of my film work goes through. And I have another company for all of my spiritual, more meditation teachery and life coaching and human investigator type work goes through there. And I also have to obviously file my accounts personally as well. So there's lots of different ways that you can work it out so that it works for you. But basically, you just need to, seek good advice is what I would recommend. I pay a small amount every year to have someone take care of that side for me, and I keep all my receipts and do lots of spreadsheets and make it as easy as possible. But I don't try and be an accountant because I'm just not an accountant. So yeah, just find someone that's good at it to help you do what you want to do. How do you display your portfolio or work? So I have a website that basically is like about me, a blog, and projects. So I just lay out my projects. I was working with an amazing graduate who's 23 years old called Freya Rose Tanner. And if you go to freyarosetanner.com, you'll see how she's laid out a website, which is basically her portfolio. And it's really clean, it's really easy to understand. You get to see what you look like. There's like a link to her CV that you can download. And we made it together for her for an interview within a day. So no excuses. Get yourself a space online, register a domain name and make it your name and own who you are and have your own website. How have you achieved your job position today? Did you go to university? I did. I went to Goldsmiths University in London and I studied drama and theatre arts as a BA. And I spent 3 wonderful years exploring theatre and performance and art and what that means today and what it meant throughout history. And it was an amazing time, and it brought me to London and it allowed me to meet lots of people, which then ended up getting me a lot of work. However, I think if you already know at a very young age that you want to be a freelancer, you know what you're doing, there are a million other ways as well that you can train or get experience in those fields. And especially with something like filmmaking, the most valuable time I spent was on set. And I almost wish I'd done that sooner. But I don't regret the path I've taken because it was a good path and I've done a lot of amazing things from it. But yeah, I think if you're lucky enough to know what you're doing, start doing it on your weekends, in your free time, during school holidays, in the evenings. Start blogging about it, writing about it. I don't know, periscoping, Snapchatting. Yeah, just make it what you do all the time. How have you achieved? Yeah, so how important is it to make context in your field of work? It's the only way you're going to get work, so do it. I think the most important transition I made was when I was working in advertising as a copywriter, and I knew I wanted to move into feature films. I had a very funny incident happen where my French farmer auntie was sat in a very small airport next to a very, very famous producer that then later became my boss. And I ended up writing her a letter or an email about how I finally managed to track her down and get in touch with her as a short story. And she just wrote back, "That was the longest email I've ever read. It didn't need to be that long. Can you meet me at 2:30 on Friday at Côte de Brasserie in Soho for a coffee?" And I did, and she offered me a job. And a week later, I flew out and worked in the Alps for 3 months skiing to set on a feature. So yeah, contacts are really important. Chase people, build relationships with people. Don't just hound people and tell them that you're going to change their life, because you're not. You might, but it's unlikely. But the thing that people like is learning about what makes you unique and your passions and your story, and being able to see you online and see what you do and see your level of commitment. And yeah, so just be a nice person and basically it works out. Do you prefer freelance work? Yes. I have complete freedom to do what I want with my time. I get to manage who I work with. I get to be ethical about my choices. I get to do things I really believe in. I also get to do things that I don't really believe in, but I get to choose those things in order to support the things that really matter to me. It is almost like, how much uncertainty can you be really comfortable with? And that is in direct correlation with the quality of your life. So if you are able to have the strength and courage to be freelance and make it work, I think you have a better life. But that's just my opinion. Also, you get paid a bit more as well, which is always nice. Are you part of a union? If so, for how long? I'm not. I am about to join Equity though, as I've just recently registered with Spotlight, and that's what you do when you're doing slightly more high-level acting. So I will be soon. No, I'm not. I do see the value in them, and I probably could be, but I think I don't know, with everything I do with filmmaking, it's yeah, it's just really about high level creative energy and getting yourself out there and making it work and doing it and making good work and being continually inspired. And I could probably be protected by a union, but I'm not sure that would help me in terms of the work I create, but it would maybe protect me more in terms of making sure that work is respected and valued and looked after. So maybe I'll look into being with the union. I hope that's everything you needed. Thanks.